Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be what to do when our words and actions don't match. I've got an email. This is from a guy. He's been following me for about 6 years now, and he says that he's read 3% Man about 20 times. But you can tell from his actions and some of the things that he's doing, either he hasn't read it 20 times or he hasn't been practicing very much because he's making mistakes and doing things that he shouldn't do. But it just goes to show the power of what happens when you get involved with somebody who you have strong feelings for. And so the woman that he got involved with is a woman that he's known from college. And so she tended to be hot and cold. And he recently started hooking up with her in the past 5-6 months. But she kind of goes back and forth. And the last time they had a date set, she canceled. He told her to get in touch when her schedule freed up because it was during the holidays. He's like, now I haven't heard from her in 3 months. What do I do now? So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email. Because he also admits that he made mistakes, and it sounds like he originally got himself friend zoned because he didn't do the right things. And so he's dealing also with a perception that he gave her in the beginning that he was weak, and that's obviously part of the reason why he was in friend zone with her. And then as he started getting out of friend zone with her, he continued making mistakes. So the quote says, "We tend to see reality as we want it to be, not as it really is. Everyone encounters people who say all kinds of flowery language in compliments that sound nice, but their actions rarely are congruent with their words. When you encounter people whose words and actions do not match and mirror their actions and ignore their words. Then you will never be disappointed when someone's words don't match their actions, because a person's actions reveal their true intentions and feelings." When I was younger and I didn't know any better, I'd get irritated and pissed off when people would tell me one thing and then do another. And as I got older and I had got more life experience, I started to realize that if you just focus on what people do and not what they say, then you're not really going to be disappointed because their actions tell you everything. It's like human beings don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, so let's say things that they don't really mean and then figure, later on I'll just blow them off or I won't follow through on what I said. In other words, to prevent any unpleasant confrontations in person or disagreements or butthurt feelings. So he says, "Hey, Coach, I want to start by saying I appreciate your work. I've been a follower since 2016 and have had many successes from applying your work. I have read 3% Man more than 20 times, and I make sure to watch at least a couple of your videos every day to freshen up on the fundamentals. I want to know what your thoughts are on this situation. Recently, I hooked up with a friend that I've known since college. We are in our late 20s. She's cute, easygoing, smart, has a good head on her shoulders, and a healthy family structure. We met before I found your work. I was weak with her back then. I asked her to be my girlfriend." He says, "Yeah, I was that guy," shaking my head. "She rejected me, and we agreed to stay friends." My come on man moment. So it's difficult in those particular situations because she's already formed a perception of you. And he obviously got rejected. She put him in friend zone. He agreed to it. Thereby communicating that he wasn't strong enough to say thanks but no thanks and walk away from that. And a lot of guys do that, and that's how you get stuck in perpetual friend zone. "I dated other women shortly after, and she moved back to her hometown 3 hours away. We kept in touch, and 3 months ago, we hung out, had fun, and hooked up on 3 separate occasions." So when he says we kept in touch, more than likely, I'm going to assume he was probably doing most of the keeping in touch. Even though he didn't say it, when I read this email and I kind of see how things went, more than likely he was still continuing to pursue and hoping to convert her. The idea is that in order to own a woman's heart, she's got to know that if she pushes you too far, you'll walk and never look back. And if you're interested in sex and romance and she puts you in friend zone, and then you agree to friend zone, and then you keep pursuing her, trying to get her to hang out and keep in touch, as he said, that continues to confirm that she made the right decision by putting you in friend zone. Or more than likely, one of her male orbiters that she enjoys the attention and validation from. I mean, let's face it, all of us, men and women, when you have somebody of the opposite sex that really has the hots for you, even if you're not interested in them, it makes you feel better about yourself. We all want to feel needed, wanted, and desired. He says, each time she reached out to me first, the next day, saying how much fun she had, except for this last time. I did not hear from her, so I gave it a few days and then reached out. So what I can tell from that is, as I talk about in 3% Man, if you start dating a new woman, somebody that's brand new, and say you go out, you have your first date, things go well, a week later you maybe have your second date, maybe you hook up, because again, most women sleep with a guy by the second or third date, and then the following few days later, she reaches out, you get together again, and then so you're seeing each other 2 times a week at that point. And then all of a sudden she kind of disappears. Then the fallback position in that scenario, because again, it's a new woman in your life, is if you don't hear from her, then after 7 days or a week or so, reach out and set a new date. But in this particular case, because this is somebody that he got friend zoned with, he should have been letting her do all the calling, texting, and pursuing. And it includes this situation where he says she reached out and they hooked up both of these times, and then she disappeared, so he reached out. So that tells me he's still inclined to keep pursuing somebody that backed off, because this particular situation, this is kind of him trying to get an ex back, because they was dating her for a while back in college, and then he got friend zoned, and then they stayed in touch. More than likely, him continuing to reach out, and then she blew him off. And it's also possible there was another guy that things went sideways with, and he was the first dude she thought of because she knew she could have him. They started hooking up, and then maybe things turned around with this other guy. Maybe the other guy got in touch. That's oftentimes what happens. And if you have told a woman you're not interested in being friends, and then she starts reaching out to you, she's got to fix it. She put you in friend zone, and therefore she's got to get you out of friend zone. And that's why you let her, in that particular situation, you let her do all the pursuing. Because, in other words, she wrecked the romance. Therefore, she's got to fix the romance. If she wrecked the romance and starts coming back, you don't pick up the ball and start pursuing her again. Because as soon as you do that, 9 times out of 10 of these situations, you get blown off and jerked around again. This way, if she starts coming back to you, because again, she's got to fix it, she's got to do all the calling, texting, and pursuing. And if she doesn't, then she can fade in the background. You can see her in your rearview mirror get smaller and smaller and smaller. He says, each time she reached out to me first, the next day saying how much fun she had, except for the last time. I did not hear from her, so I gave it a few days and then reached out. Again, that's where he went wrong. I was genuinely busy. We chatted for a little bit, then I tried to set a date like how I usually do with her, but she did not respond for a week. That's exactly why you don't pursue, because there is a reason why she stopped moving forward. And if I was a betting man, if I'm in Las Vegas, I would say there's probably another guy in the picture, and things weren't going well with him, and that's why she reached out to you. And then he came back in the picture, and that's why she disappeared. That's why you got to just let her be. Because again, she stuck you in friend zone, and therefore she's got to pull you out of it, and you're not letting her do that. She said she hadn't been busy, but that she's been thinking about me. This is where I talk about words and actions. Yeah, her actions don't communicate that she's thinking about you. Even though she says it, oh, I've been busy. When somebody says they're busy, it's not that they're that busy, it's just they're too busy and you're just not that important to them. That's what you have to see. But since he got rejected several years ago, rejection breeds obsession, that's why, whether he realizes it or not, he still is falling under the illusion of action, thinking he's got to pursue her. He's talking himself into chasing this girl. I was not perturbed and did not double text. I kept it playful, and she seemed to respond positively. When I brought up going out again, she stopped responding for 2 weeks this time. So that is really rude. If somebody is in your life, is close to you, and then they wait 24 hours or longer to respond, that shows that you don't matter to them. They don't really give a shit about you. You don't chase after people that do that to you. At this point, I knew something was up since she used to respond within a day, and now it's weeks. Very predictable, though. I knew women like to stir things up. I was still unperturbed, he says he loves that word, and played it cool by not double texting. I also had other prospects at this time, so it was not intentional. When she responded, we set up a confirmed date about a week away. 3 days before the date, she messaged me to cancel, saying her mom was in the hospital and that her family will be over for Christmas. Again, this is one of those kinds of, I'm just busy. I'm crazy busy. I don't have any time. Her mother may or may not have been in the hospital. Could have been a minor thing, but women tend to take those minor things and make a big deal out of it to make their excuse sound more believable. It's possible that it was really a big deal, but when you see what actually happens, you go, oh, okay, it was probably bullshit. She probably made it sound more serious than it was. He says, I gave her my well wishes and told her to message me when she's free and ready to go out again. She agreed and said she will. So her words are, oh, I will definitely get in touch with you. And if you love and you value yourself and you know that you bring something to the table, you want somebody to choose you also. And so you give her the freedom to be congruent with her words. If she really does want to see you, she will reach out like she said she would. But if she doesn't, then you know where you stand. And that's why there's no reason to get butthurt when you look at her actions. Her words communicated she was more interested than she was. And when you look at her actions show that she hooked up with you a couple of times. There was probably something going on with another guy, and that started to progress. And then poof, she disappeared. And if things go sideways with that dude in the future, more than likely she'll be back. That's why you don't keep pursuing, because she starts to learn that no matter what she does to you, no matter how rude and disrespectful, you'll just keep putting up with it. And women can't love a man they don't respect. No one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. It's now been 3 months and I have not contacted her. I would never contact her or call her again for any reason. She has been rude and disrespectful and treated you like you were garbage. She threw you away like you were nothing, and yet you're still pedestalizing this girl and hoping she gives you her attention and time, instead of looking at the fact that she acted like a ratchet. If her mom was really in the hospital, would I be an asshole not to follow up and check on her? Well, what about her blowing you off? What about the fact that 3 months have gone by and she told you she was going to communicate with you and reach out to you, and she hasn't? So if you bottom line her actions and you haven't heard from her in 3 months, it means she doesn't give a fuck about you. Again, she was probably just using you as a little rebound sex to make herself feel better when something didn't work out with another guy. Is she testing me? Did I over pursue? Well, you've kind of always been over pursuing. That's why you got friend zone in the first place. Maybe I was moving too fast for her. Again, if she's trying to get you back, that should not be an issue. But again, you started pursuing as soon as you started reaching out. I see this so much when I do phone sessions with guys. They have a girl they screwed something up with. They chase her out of their lives. They back off. They go no contact. She starts to reach out. She does it 1 or 2 times. And then she disappears for a few days like this one did. And then they start calling and texting and going. They go right back to the same exact behavior that got them rejected. And then the same exact thing happens again. They get blown off by the girl. And they're like, well, what happened? Well, if you're the prize and you're the gift and she genuinely screwed up, then she's going to have to make all the effort to get another chance with you, not the other way around. And the problem with guys in this situation is their mindset is, if I could just get another chance, if I could just spend time with her, if I could just talk to her, if I could just see her in person. The reality is she treats you like dirt. You don't invite people who treat you like dirt and take you for granted to continue doing that. You give them the gift of missing you. I am on my purpose and have been busy with my work, but I am still actively dating. Unfortunately, though the dating pool is mostly trash, haha, I have not had any solid connections lately. Well, that being impatient and upset that somebody hasn't come along is what keeps people going back to something that's mediocre, or going back to somebody that's not treating them well, or in this case, somebody that just jerks you around. I know I must charge all the losses to the game, but this one was a solid connection that I would hate to lose. Well, you're looking at the fact that you think it's a solid connection, but if you look at her actions, you don't mean anything to her. She doesn't care. I know that's harsh, but you need to hear the truth, man. If you bottom line her actions, she don't give a fuck. She's probably banging some other dude right now, and maybe that worked out, and she'll live happily ever after, and you'll never hear from her again. Also, you may hear from her in 6 months. You just never know. That's why when you screwed up like this and you got friend zone, you're not going to give any energy to somebody that sticks you in friend zone. They have to pull you back out of that. That's why they have to make all of the effort. He says, a very fun fuck too, I should add. You think she will be back even past the 3 months? It's possible. I mean, sometimes women get in touch years later. You just never know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. She screwed it up again. She blew you off again. You don't chase after somebody inviting them to do it to you again. Unless you're a masochist, of course. Since I asked twice for the date now and she flaked the last time, should I just let her bring it up going out when she contacts me? I appreciate any response you might have. Well, either way, you could, if she reaches out, I'm going to assume she wants to see you. Invite her over to make dinner together. Follow the script right out of 7 Principles, Get an X Back. If she won't make a date, then say, great, figure out your schedule and get back to me. And then she gets in touch one more time, trying to make a date, because again, she's reaching out to you. And then if she won't make a date, then you'll never bring it up. And then all of your future phone calls and text exchanges will be brief, 2 to 3 text exchanges max, 2 to 3 minutes on the phone max. And you're like, hey, it was really great hearing your voice, but I gotta run to an appointment. I'll talk to you later. Or keep in touch. That's all you gotta say. So that's what I would do in that particular case. But the problem that you're not seeing is that you're still looking for excuses and reasons to chase after this girl. And you value her, but she doesn't value you if you just bottom line her actions. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.